I believe the things that I have told you, but I also believe that there is a chance here that the tide is turning. It doesn't mean we're going to escape pain. It means that there's enough of us waking up that we'll be able to save ourselves and our country. The vote this weekend in Greece is puzzling to me because I was over there and I've also seen the polls. People do not want more bailouts, but they know what's coming. Now, this delays the inevitable. More bailouts equal more pain in the end. The writing's on the wall. But the people have decided they're going to double down. And they're going to double down on the same failed solutions. Okay, that's probably right for Greece, I don't know, if the people are preparing. And if they're humble enough to realize it's not going to work. But I don't know if that's what they feel. It's probably not what we would be feeling if we were in their situation. I read a book, about 3 weeks ago, that I'd like you to take a look at, kind of as a companion piece to Cowards. This is not for cowards to read. I want you to know this is a fiction book, so I'm not suggesting that anything in this be taken as gospel. But there are some things in here that are true, and they've woven this into a very fascinating story. And you come away with this, I think, with the essence of the truth, that God is trying to humble us. There's some great observations in this, and the 9 harbingers, if you will, all did happen. The point of this book is that we are seeing a repeat of history. I believe this to be true. We are seeing the exact same harbingers that ancient Israel received before its destruction. They're manifesting them now, themselves here now since 9/11. That was really the first. And when you read this book, you start to look at this and you say, holy cow, that is exactly how we responded. And we thought it was a good thing when we did. Much of the focus of this book surrounds the response of the ancient Israelites and our response, and how they turned their backs to God. When God sent them a warning, instead of saying, holy cow, what have we done? Not what did we do to cause this? What have we done? We have lost sight with humility. When this happened in ancient Israel, this is how ancient Israel responded. It's from Isaiah. The bricks have fallen, but we will rebuild them with hewn stone. The sycamores have been cut down, but we'll plant cedars in their place. This is critical. I think it's interesting that it's also 9:10. This is critical to understand. Most people will read this, and this has been quoted over and over and over again since 9/11. Most people look at this as a blessing. It says, what does it mean? Well, that our bricks have fallen, but we're going to take the hand-hewn stone, the big stone pieces, and we're going to build it, and we're going to build it bigger and better. It's arrogance and pride. We're going to take those little bricks, and we're going to replace them with huge, fancy stones. And we're going to take the sycamores, which have been cut down, and we're going to plant cedars in their place. It's a stronger tree, representing again that we're going to make ourselves stronger. We can't do this. We can fix ourselves. Well, no, maybe you should look inside of yourself. We'll do it bigger and better than we did before. How many of us, me included, saying, I want to build those towers up and I want to build them one extra story at least. But that's not what we were supposed to do. God wanted the ancient Israelites to turn back to Him. The book makes a compelling case, again, fiction, that through our response to 9/11, America is failing to use its chance to turn back to God. Rather, we're repeating the same mistakes over and over that the Israelites did, almost exactly, almost word for word. The line about the sycamores falling down, in Egypt, the sycamore tree was struck down as a sign of judgment. Well, on September 11th, a steel beam from the North Tower came hurling down and struck an object. It was a tree. It was this tree. There's the root of it. It was a sycamore tree. Those don't usually grow in that region of the world, but it did. And this is the tree that saved a very important place. Even more striking, people saw the tree, and most likely having no idea what happened in the Bible account, they made a bronze sculpture display of it, and they called it the Tree of Hope. Bronze is the biblical metal of judgment. This scratches the surface. There's so much more detail and 8 other harbingers. But what happened here is we replaced this tree with a cedar. And we quoted that scripture when we did it. We quoted that scripture when we laid the cornerstone of the World Trade Center. What didn't we do? Wake up. We didn't wake up. I find this truly amazing, because this is making the case that I've been making on this program for a while, that we made a covenant. When I told you that we went down, my family and I went down to the World Trade Center a few weeks back when we were in New York City, it was to retrace George Washington's steps as he made the covenant with America and do it with my family. George Washington made that covenant in a church that's right across the street from the World Trade Center, the one where the beam came down and struck the sycamore. When I was sitting there at the World Trade Center site, the tour guide said, you know, that Tree of Hope, the reason why those buildings, that church didn't fall down, and even all of the panes of glass were the only ones that weren't broken in the whole area, is because of that sycamore. I believe that church had God's protection on it to send us a message. Do you remember that Church of Hope? He was sending us a message. God always returns to the scene of the covenant. That's the church that George Washington made the covenant. In fact, the World Trade Center was built on the land that used to belong to that church. Now, in this, if we don't get it and we don't wake up, we lose. But here's the good news. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we've been given just a little more time. In Greece, the collapse could have happened this weekend. I mean, they were talking about it everywhere. Everybody was talking about doomsday scenarios. And if you think we as Americans are immune from what's happening in Europe, you're wrong. Remember, the euro is on the brink of financial ruin, total collapse, and it is still worth more than the dollar. What does that say about the dollar? For whatever reason, we've been given more time. I think it's because we're waking up. I think you can feel it, can't you? We need to use that time wisely. Continue to turn back to God. Pray harder now than you ever have. That's all He wants. Turn to Him and to be humble. Rely on Him first. It's not easy. I was driving in this morning, and I tell you, it's been a freaky month for my staff. They've had a hard time because we have all of this progress that we're making, and we'll explain some stuff on GBTV here in a minute. And we have all these things going on and all these good signs, and yet I have been saying I don't even know if what I'm doing is right anymore. I don't know. And part of that has come because every summer for the last 3 years I have freaked out because of fundraising and attendance and everything else. Because every summer I put everything on the line. And every summer at this time we are short of our fundraising goal. We had a goal of, $4 million, $5 million for 728. And I'm kind of in a cold sweat right now. You know, not the usual Glenn's fat man sweat, but just regular cold sweat. because we're about $2 million shy. And honestly, I don't know where we're going to get the money. Remember I said to you that we were going to make you pay for any of these tickets because I was going to make the rich people pay. The rich people aren't coming. And we've been in times like these, similar to the other big events that we've done. At the last minute, it seems, always, God somehow provides. On 8/28, we were $1 million short, 2 weeks prior. And then somebody sent me 8 pennies. They're right here. Sent me 8 pennies. And it was these 8 pennies that I put on my table at Fox that changed the world. These 8 pennies right here. And it was a note that just said, this is all I have, but I want to contribute. And we raised enough money to pay for that thing on the mall and then some, so we could give the rest to charity. Last year, we were behind, and it was a family from South Africa that stepped to the plate at the last minute, and all of a sudden, all this stuff started happening. And it was literally 4 days before the event. This year, I have to tell you, this year, this event really needs your prayers, because I have a feeling that we are on to something that I think I just figured something out today, quite honestly. I think we are on to something that may have been maybe 3 years in the making, and I didn't even see it until today. And things started clicking into place, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And there's a reason why there's a reason why I kept saying it has to be at a stadium. It has to be at Dallas Cowboys Stadium. There's a reason that I've been saying I'm not inviting anybody else to speak. There's a reason. I just didn't see it. I have been praying hard about this event. And I'll tell you 2 things. A lot can happen between now and then. But there are some things that are now starting to pop up that, I mean, I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you because, sometimes I tell you these things and then they don't happen, and then it's like, oh, okay, we got more hype. So I'm not going to tell you. I will tell you this. There is one thing that I can tell you about now because it arrived today. There is something that arrived at my office today that is a piece of history that I didn't even know. I didn't even know it existed. People have never seen it in public. The public has never seen it before. It arrived today on the back of a truck. It has been there on this truck. It's been shipped now for I don't even know. I think it's been 8 days. And if you saw that little thing on the side, that was for temperature. It was an alarm. In case it was opened, it would alert security. It's a GPS tracking device. It has been, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. And I opened it up today, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. It has never been seen. It's a pretty big piece of history. Okay, stop showing it now. It's a pretty big piece of history. Just stop showing it now, please. Stop showing it now. Stop showing it now. Stop showing it now. Thank you. It is, again, I said, I didn't even know it existed. The first time it will be seen will be at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, 7/28. And wait until you hear the story of how we found it, and wait until you see what it is. It's such an amazing message. It's incredible. It's incredible. I always freak out at this time of year. It's like anti-Christmas. So many people have committed to coming to Dallas this July for 3 days of service. I believe these 3 days can change the world. But I need you to pray that what's supposed to happen will happen, and that everyone will accept it. I mean, including me. If I have to write that big stinking check in the end, including me. It will come together exactly the way it always does, exactly the way it's supposed to. I know this for two reasons. Because America is turning back to God. The second reason, you can verify the first. We're about to win. You can feel it.